Alan has seen a film that I have not. This is a divide and conquer strategy with the two of us. Alan saw a movie called Radical. Tell us about Radical,
Yeah.
Alan.
So Radical is stars Eugenio Derbez. I probably butchered that. And he plays a teacher. Sergio is the name, is his first name. He goes into a small town in Mexico where basically, um, the town's kind of been thrown away. The school he goes into is a school that for children who life has given up on, and he decides that he's going to take the challenge and teach at that school. And he's teaching junior high level education here. And so here's this teacher. He goes in and he basically decides he's going to do things differently, shake things up. And he uses basically a very unorthodox teaching method. For example, first day of class, he's turned all the tables over, and as the kids are coming in, he says, "Hey, this is a sea full of boats. We all need to divide ourselves equally onto the boat so the boat doesn't sink." And he kind of teaches them algebra through that method. And then as the class goes on, he begins to talk to the kids and begins to say, what do you want to learn in this class? What questions do you have? And they begin asking questions about why boats float and why boats sink. And soon it becomes a lesson in physics in terms of density. Why is the teacher the same height as the principal, but the principal is fatter? Why would the boat more likely sink because of that? And so the reason I'm bringing all of this up is the teacher. This is something that has been on my mind a lot when it comes to education, especially my kids' education. But the whole principle behind what this teacher is doing is the idea that if you can teach a child to think critically, if you can teach them critical thinking, they will be able to learn almost any subject in the world. And so now you have a bunch of kids who don't know anything, who have a very poor education. The school gets funded by these assessment exams, and all the other teachers, all they do is they get a copy of the exam early and then teach the kids how to take that exam. Basically gives them the answers to it. And he says, no, kids can think. And he just has them ask questions and then forces them to look up the answers somewhere or to consider the answers. And, so there's the teacher story. And then he has three students that are kind of spotlighted. One is a girl who seems to have an aptitude towards STEM and wants to become a rocket scientist. And they don't live that far from, was it Johnson Space Center? And so he kind of, causes her to bloom in terms of the possibilities of going to astronomy and going into space. Another girl wants to be a philosopher, and there's an amazing scene surrounding the subject of abortion that you think goes one way, but goes in this completely amazing other direction. And then another kid whose brother and family are kind of caught in gangs, and he kind of has to make that decision of, now that he's enjoying learning in his education, does he go into his brother's gang? And so this is a true story. I mentioned before, I'm actually going to be interviewing the director and the star later this afternoon for the interview channel. But I highly recommend this. The thing that Polly and I actually saw it together, the thing that I walked away with was these kids at this school in Mexico is getting a better education than kids in California. And that fact just pissed me off right at that moment. It's like, this is so simple. When did we stop believing in children? When did we stop thinking that the children weren't sponges for information? And this movie just kind of shows you that, if you do it right, you can make learning exciting for children. And that's what this movie's about.
Well, it's sort of a tried and true genre of the radical teacher who tries to do something different with the troubled kids, and then suddenly they learn. I mean, that is a movie you can look back through history. What was the one that James
Stand and Deliver?
Stand and Deliver, Edward James Olmos. There's a bunch of movies that are like this. So which seems somewhat typical, but I like this. I think it's also like a message we probably need now when you look at American schools and there's so much nonsense being pushed on kids. But I'll just say as like someone that like it's like when I was a kid, I just as soon as I learned to read, it's like that was it. I'm gonna read Roald Dahl. I read the sequel to Willy Wonka. I was just interested, and I think we've kind of lost that thing where if you just teach kids, how to think for themselves, they'll gravitate towards things that they're interested in. So I like the message of this movie. You've got me interested in seeing it.